Welcome back. Should schools in our state be limiting cell phone use during the school day? Last month, in his State of the State address, the governor pitched a plan to require younger students to leave their cell phones at home or lock them up in a pouch like what you're looking at here on your screen and leave them there for the school day. Let's take a listen to Governor Lamont.
I do find that social media is sometimes fundamentally antisocial, and I think too much smartphone makes you stupid. So I want you to start the day listening to your teacher and playing with your friends, not your phone.
Now, joining us to talk about this proposal are Kate Diaz, she's president of the Connecticut Education Association, and James Tierinni, a math teacher at Manchester High School. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
So we had the governor on right after he gave that speech, and I watched the speech to ask him questions about all sorts of things. Actually, the only new proposal in the entire 30-minute speech was that one. And I made that point to him. You talked about a lot of successes your administration's having, but the one new thing you said in that speech was no cell phones for elementary school kids. Is that a good thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've learned over time that restricting access, particularly during the school day, makes a lot of sense with children. That it can be a distraction, it can get in the way of motivation, can get in the way of the activity of learning. So there's really no good reason to have access to those cell phones, particularly in elementary, during the school day. We understand families want that for on the way to school, on the way home from school, but during the actual process of getting through the school day and learning, it really doesn't support that. So it makes a lot of sense to be pretty on record in saying you can leave that at home or let's put it in a safe place.
He was talking about elementary schools, but Kate, you told me that the real focus is middle school students.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of activity in middle school. Torrington rolled out the Yonder pouches last year. In discussing with some of those teachers, we found that they had an immediate, an almost instant decline in student-to-student violence, where students had been using their cell phones to both kind of plan and record in-school fights or turmoil, and they saw an immediate downturn on that, and that was huge, and that was really a powerful thing. Now, it was difficult. Students weren't in love with this plan. Families had a little apprehension. They're used to a lot of access, and so we had to adjust, go back to kind of old school where, reassure families if you need your children, you can access them. Call the main office. We'll make sure you have your needs met. And now the students and the families are on board. They are really happy with kind of how this has helped moderate some of the behavior during the day.
James, tell me about how it is in your class. Do you have students with cell phones? How do you guys limit them?
Yes, we have students with cell phones quite frequently. And I think right now what we do is a lot of teacher direction. So I will redirect students to put them away. Students will put them away. There can be consequences if they don't put them away. But I think that these pouches in general are a great idea because you're taking something off of the teacher's plate and they can focus on what they're really good at, which is teaching. And you're also taking it off the student's plate, so the students don't have to consider, do I have my phone? Oh, it's buzzing. Should I check it? Should I not? You just take that decision away from them so they can also focus on the learning.
And we looked at some pictures there, those Yonder pouches you were talking about. One thing that I know just from, I have a son who's almost 13, a lot of it is not even just that, it's listening to music. That one earbud in, we've all seen that look. And, maybe there's other competing things for attention. Even like you said, maybe just that buzz in a pocket. And they're saying, I wonder who's texting me right now. Is that part of what you're competing against while you're trying to teach some math?
Well, when I'm teaching math, you're competing against TikTok, Snapchat, all the things that these kids listen to their music. And as much as fun as math is, sometimes those things could be a little bit more fun to the student's mind. And just by putting it in the pouch and taking it away, it really allows the student to focus. And I think that when students are focused, that's when you get the best out of them.
I saw something, Kate, that talking about these different options, and one commenter, and I thought it was an interesting idea, and I don't know what to make of it, but maybe get your thoughts. They said, but wait a minute. Life is about teaching kids to make good choices. So if you just put it in the pouch and this is off the plate, shouldn't we be saying there's a consequence and put it in your pocket and don't check it? And just like all these other rules you got to follow, we're teaching you not just the Pythagorean theorem. We're teaching you how to be good human beings and follow rules.
And certainly that's a part of the process. But we've been doing that for a very long time with varied results. And they're absolutely right. You know, ninth grade looks different than 12th grade, right? We really have a graduated release process of learning. And so maybe that's a contemplation as we kind of think about, well, what does this look like? Does it have to look the same in every space? What does that kind of look like in general as the policy? I think that we underestimate how easy it is for kids to be distracted. You know, to James's point, there's a lot going on when we talk about these students' lives, and the opportunity to really focus on your learning without these other distractions is actually really a powerful gift we can give kids. Now, do I hope that they continue to practice restraint? Of course, but sometimes they don't. And so we're really just trying to facilitate the process of learning, the process of the value of that turned off time, because a lot of our students don't even know what that experience is like. They're so used to being accessible, available, online engaged. So this really actually gives them, in many cases, an experience that they don't actually have, which is what it's like to not be with your phone. Most of them, that's a real stark kind of confrontation, right? Like, oh my goodness, I don't have my phone. But they need to learn that that's okay too. And so I think there's a balance that we want to talk about and what makes the most sense. But I really think in this case, the value is probably going to outweigh the idea that we would build in really rigid structures of consequences that then can also become cumbersome and get in the way, and really kind of, you know, teach that moderating voice in maybe new ways.
If you're going to talk to a parent of someone in your class, you know, in a school that doesn't have a policy right now, whether it's yours or another one, what would you just tell the parent? Would you say, what would you ask them to ask their kid?
I mean, in terms of not having the phone?
Yeah, about a cell phone policy. Like if the district in some town that's watching hasn't set a policy, what would you ask the parent to do?
I would just ask the parent, if it becomes a distraction, that they take it away from their child. It's very similar to a pouch, because I really want the kids focused on the math when they're in the classroom. And like you said, there's other things you learn about in a classroom besides just math. Life, you know, and all those things in between. But the phone really takes away from that. So a lot of times I tell the parents, I said, I think that the best thing for your kid would be if they didn't have their phone in my class. So at that point, it's on the parent to really take it away. I don't know how much it is on like the individual teacher, which is why I think the pouches would be so helpful. It's not on the teacher, it's not on the parent, it's not on the student. The school does it. The phone goes in the pouch, and then the kids can really focus on being kids and learning.
Katie, I only have 30 seconds left, but one thing that's interesting to me with this debate is a lot of the objection comes from the parents, doesn't it?
It really does. There's a fear that they're going to lose access. And what I would tell every parent is that we will never remove access to your child. It may look different. You may have to call an office, but you will always have 100% access to your children.
Well, it's certainly an interesting topic, and as you guys have dealt with people under the age of 18, they've all got that phone right in front of their face, maybe one, maybe two earpods in, music going, TikTok's going, maybe filming something. There's a lot going on those phones that we probably don't even know about. But it's a big issue, and I think we're going to hear a lot more about it. Like I said, the one proposal in the governor's speech, it's a big deal.
Yes,
Kate Diaz, James Tierinni, thanks for being with us here on CT24.
Thank you.
Thank you.